Locked in my decision to have a collision with my purpose. It is my assignment to be in alignment with my purpose. I'm locked in, going all out, no fear, no doubt. My God, my choice, your will, I'm all yours. Locked in, going all out, no fear, no doubt. My God, my choice, your will, your will, your will. Locked in my decision to have a collision with my purpose. It is my assignment to be in alignment with my purpose. Have a collision with purpose, 'cause you know that you're worth it, and your dream is worth capturing. If I'm not living on purpose, then none of it is worth it. My assignment is uplifting souls for the King, souls for the King, souls for the King.
Greetings and friends of the A Collision with Purpose movement. Welcome to Bridging Generations, Voices of Men in a Changing World. I am Dr. Laxley Stephenson. This groundbreaking podcast delves into the multifaceted experiences of men across different generations. In an area where societal norms and expectations rapidly evolve, this show offers young and older men a unique platform to voice their challenges, triumphs, and perspectives.
So each episode, aims to foster understanding and bridge the gap between generations, exploring themes ranging from masculinity and mental health to career dynamics and personal relationships. So whether it's a teenager grappling with the pressures of social media or a senior reflecting on the changing definitions of manhood, Bridging Generations is committed to uncovering the real stories of men navigating the complexities of a changing world. I am Juan Marcel, one of your co-hosts for this show. Doc, what is going on this week, this time, today? What's up?
Man, there's so much. Is that Augusta backstage?
Oh, yes, it is.
Hey, can you bring him on, please? Can you bring him on? All right. Hey, Augusta, what's up, man? What's up, Juan? What's up, Donna?
We live.
Brother.
Going on.
Yeah, we got a big show tonight, gentlemen and lady. We have a big show tonight. Donna is going to join us for the first segment because, yesterday we did something that was real big. We did a presentation, and, that thing went down like, what can I say? It was so awesome. We made, big time presentation donation last night from Global Humanity Network, our sister organization, and tell you the proceeds was well received. What we provided and source is going to be a life changer for so many individuals. So very excited about that. But before we go into that, Augusta, what's going on with you, man?
It is an amazing day, been an amazing week. We're still operation full service. The past 2 weeks for me have been very, very hectic. The youngest just started kindergarten, and to give the varying of ages for people who've never listened, my youngest started kindergarten and my oldest started high school. So, there's 3 in between just living life. So I have been it's been school closed, it's been administration, it's been calling teachers, it's been preparing for parent teacher night, because if we stated before, and for, the 3 of us on here, no disrespect, to the women, Auntie Donna, I know but yeah, this fatherhood thing is nonstop. So it is the first month of school back for the kids. So I am on full dad mode. Full dad mode.
Full dad mode. What's up with you, Juan?
Man, some of what Augusta just touched on, and then just a couple of projects, and a new shortly before this, a new position that I've taken on. And so just a couple of, like I said, just scheduling projects, some of that. So just ripping and running, just the business of life, I guess. So, but I do want to say, hey, welcome back, Donna DL Thompson. She was in Jamaica, so it's good to see her. I mean, I know we virtual, but it's good to see your face.
Man, back on this side of the world. Yeah, she's a world traveler.
I'm happy to be back and with you guys. I haven't been here for a minute.
We missed you. Your presence was missed.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, we got a show tonight. I'm going to play a quick video while we're staying on screen. All right. And then we'll build on this. All right.
Okay.
Everyone, and welcome to our meeting here tonight. Your presence here speaks volume. It is a testament to the compassion and solidarity that we as an organization share, and how we respond in the face of adversity. Today, as we gather here with a shared purpose, we're here to support those deeply affected by the devastation caused by Hurricane Beryl in Jamaica. I'm proud to announce that through our collective efforts, we have raised substantial amount of funds for the Jamaican hurricane relief, and we will talk more about that later, right? This achievement is a powerful reminder of what we can accomplish when we unite for a common cause, and that's exactly what we did. Your generosity, and now I'm speaking to those out there who are listening to our live, and those of us on the platform, your generosity is not just a number. It represents the hope and strength that we extend to those who need it the most. So as we celebrate our progress in this initiative, we must also acknowledge that the devastation caused by Hurricane Beryl continues to affect many lives. The road to recovery is long and the challenges remain significant. There are still homes, schools, and vital infrastructure have been destroyed, and families are still struggling to rebuild their lives. So I think it's fair to say that our work, our commitment is far from over. The funds we raise here through this initiative are just the beginning of our commitment to supporting the recovery efforts in Jamaica. We as an organization must continue to stand with our brothers and sisters as they navigate this difficult journey. Again, I want to say thank you to all of you for your unwavering support and commitment. Your contributions, whether through donations, volunteering, or simply spreading the word, have made a profound difference. Once again, thank you for your generosity and for being here today. We have much work to do, but I'm confident that with our continued support and commitment, we will bring hope and healing to those affected in Jamaica. All right, so that was from last night. We had our meeting last night, and I'm going to ask Donna to jump in on this. Donna, we saw that the problem still exists in Jamaica. 4 to 5 days after the hurricane, some things are better, but most things are not. There's still no electricity in the most impacted areas in Jamaica, which are St. Elizabeth, South St. Elizabeth. The problem is still there. No electricity after 4 to 5 days. Can you imagine what that is like? No drinking water. If you don't have electricity, what do you store? How do you store protein, right? So it's a big problem. So Donna, please share with us your takeaway from last night.
Yeah, so my takeaway from last night is that, the devastation that took place and the after effects still exist, especially in those, in St. Elizabeth, right? In the more, I would say, areas that probably normally would not have resources that they needed to begin with. So now with this devastation happening, compounding on what they may not have had to begin with, is causing not just a greater need, but it's almost like they're in a state of really where something greater needs to happen, right? Because they're not getting the necessary resources that they need, especially with having clean water. If you don't have clean water now, they're in a place where they're looking at potential diseases breaking out. I don't know if anyone's aware, but I was in Jamaica for 2 weeks, and I'm telling you, now they're looking at mosquitoes and the dengue fever and just a lot of health things that's coming up now, and it is extremely hot there. Like, you can just sit, you don't have to do anything, you don't have to walk, you don't have to move, and you're just soaking wet. So not having something like water to replenish your body and clean water to even prepare whatever meals that's given to them, they're in a bad situation, guys. And not having a roof over your head, it's still raining. They're still getting rain throughout the island. So not having a place to sleep, and compound with that with more rain coming in, more influx of different, mosquitoes breeding and things of that nature. So right now, I think they're more than likely going to be facing a larger health crisis, and the health system there, the medical system there to begin with, is not the greatest. So whatever we can do to help, I think as human beings, it is our responsibility to try to help these individuals and these communities.
So why are we having this discussion tonight on this platform? That is the question, right? And I am the president of Global Humanity Network, or a nonprofit organization. Donna is the vice president. So because of the needs and because of who we are and what a collision with purpose is all about, we're into humanity. Right? We're into making a difference. So of course, we are connected to GHN, Global Humanity Network, and the work they're doing. So we believe, and we know it's our duty to promote that work as well. But that is exactly what a collision with purpose is about. So last night we had our meeting. There was a presentation. We did some things, but not enough. So if you're watching this show tonight, we're in need of more funds. We're in need of more money, and we'll put that up in the chat, or you can support Global Humanity Network, Beryl Hurricane Funds Initiative in Jamaica. And I am going to play another video. We'll stay online, and I'll play another video of the presentation that we had last night. Half of our donors, first and foremost, board of directors, members, and friends of GHN. We're proud to announce that we will be providing and sending you 200 cases of water. And it's not just 24 in the pack, it's 32 bottles in the pack.
No, you made sure of that.
And we're also providing 100 care package as well. 100.
Thank you. So we are finalizing on the care packages.
Yes, 100. We're doing 100. And based on the amount of money that we collected, there is some in there for ice.
Oh,
ice.
so
we have yet to determine what that will look like, but the need for ice is so important, right? And
yes.
Without electricity and all that good stuff. So on behalf of this board, GHN board, and donors and members and friends, that is what we're in a position to do that right now. Is that the end?
No, I hope not.
Well, that depends, right? It depends on the support that we're receiving, because of course, what we provide is what we receive from others, what we're able to provide. So, That's what we're in a position to do that. You know, what we've collected in terms of donations is almost $500,000 Jamaican dollars. That's a big deal. That's a big
And
deal.
that's a big deal, and it will go a far way.
Yeah.
Let me just share. We have been back and forth, you and I, in terms of in what ways can GHN support the community of St. Elizabeth. And we thought, you know, we decided that water is critical to life. Water is life, and water is so important, and clean water is important. And that's why you said to me, let's do bottled water, because if the communities don't have electricity, you know, the pumping stations don't work, because the pumping stations require electricity. And so that is why many of the communities have not been getting piped water. And without proper filtered water, they are not able to cook. They are not able to eat in a safe way. And so I am even more grateful that you're providing water more than anything else, because trucking water is not, it's not necessarily the cleanest, but
So that's what happened last night. And in addition to that, we are also providing 100 pack of sanitary stuff, right? 100 packs, and I believe there were 14 in a pack. So each care package will also include a sanitary pads, you know, 14 in it. Is that how that thing worked out? 14 in a pack?
Yeah.
So we're providing that as well. Now the question is that enough? It's a good first attempt. It's a good attempt, as a matter of fact. However, we're still in the business of providing aid, of supporting, you know, our brothers and sisters in South St. Elizabeth. Devastated the area is. You know, you just need to see some of the pictures, the photos, and the videos. And I tell you, it's going to be a while before that place come back to normal, be normalized. So if you're watching this live podcast, or if you're watching the replay, we kindly request that you support Global Humanity Network in this very important, critical, life-saving initiative. All right, Donna, is there anything else you want to add? Because I know you have an appointment and you got to go. And we also have some business to take care of here tonight. We're going to get back to the business of parenting. We started that conversation last week, and we're going to go back deep into it tonight.
Yeah, I just want to say, you know, definitely dig into your pockets and be generous in supporting the initiative, because, you know, once again, one thing about supporting a collision with purpose and filtering into Global Humanity Network is that every single dollar, penny that you actually donate to the organization, 100% of that goes towards the specific initiatives that we are raising funds for. So know that your monies will be going a long way, and it's definitely helping someone across the oceans, and they really need your help. And that's all I have to say.
So what would be so pleasing tonight is, by the time we get off of this platform, if we walk away with $1,000, I tell you, $1,000 can go a long, long way into buying sanitary pads, into purchasing another 100 case of water, and buying some food. All right, some food. So we'd really appreciate it if you're out there watching. It's in the caption, in the comment section, how you can donate to Global Humanity Network, Jamaica Hurricane Relief Fund. Now, I'm going to ask Augusta and Juan to just say a little bit about what we're doing there, or about GHN, because both of you are members of GHN as well.
Yeah, where it's not just to even just even the efforts for what occurred over in Jamaica with Barrel, but everything from putting forth efforts to build schools, provide scholarships, partnering with Collision with Purpose. But, you know, as Miss Donna said, this isn't, as somebody who's worked with a lot of profits, as a mother who did politics and worked in nonprofits, you get a lot of agencies where the overhead, I always use Susan G. Komen as an example. God bless. But you're looking at an agency that's a nonprofit, that is a 501c3, and they're taking 90 to 95% of the money that's donated, and it's dispersed out to staff and marketing. And it's understandable because you have to do those things. But this is truly a grassroots effort where you can see the money that you are giving. It's actualized. It's really going to do the work. So for every dollar that you donate, you don't have to sit up and worry about, well, is it going to this person or that person? Will it make it? This is literally making it. So if you want an opportunity to actually want to make a difference and see the significance of it, this is it. A grassroots organization that we're really doing the work.
Yeah, most definitely. I think it's for me, it's the integrity of it all. You know, what GHM sets out to do, they do. You know, and I think to Augusta's point, that means a lot because, you know, oftentimes, you know, contributors, sponsors, donors, you know, they like to see where their money is going, and there are quite a few agencies that spend their money as needed, but it's for business and operational purposes, you know. So to see this go towards the actual need is the whole reason why, you know, this organization was started. It means a lot to see that happening. I think it's just the speed of the response is what gets me. I think there's something that's remarkable and exceptional, is that when the need is there, it's an immediate need. For us in GHM, it's an immediate response. So that means a lot.
Yes, indeed. Immediate, yes. 4 to 5 days into the problem, and there's so much more to do. No water, no drinking water, no running water, no electricity. Houses are still wide open to the elements, no roof for those who still have a house. So the problem is huge. So we're asking you to jump in, do your part, play your part, and support where you can, how you can. And that's all we're asking. Now we're going to pivot to our show tonight. We're talking about becoming iron. Tales of courage and conviction. Men becoming iron. So let's kick it off with a video. We're going to stay on screen, all right? Well, we're going to kick it off with a video. All right? This one is hot. This one is fire.
Of hearts that strive through fire and flame, they find their way, becoming iron where courage holds sway. Becoming iron, with hearts forged in fire. Tales of courage and conviction rising even higher, displaying strength in the fiercest fight, becoming iron, shining in the night. Faces the darkest night, the empowered man fights with all his might. The resilient man stands unwavering and strong. The inspired man knows where he belongs. Together they rise, conquering fears, becoming iron through trials and fears. Becoming iron with hearts forged in fire. Tales of courage and conviction rising even higher, displaying strength in the fiercest fight, becoming iron, shining in the night. Becoming iron, shining in the night. The brave man faces the darkest night. The empowered man fights with all his might. The resilient man stands unwavering and strong. The inspired man knows where he belongs. Becoming iron rose where he belongs. Becoming iron, shining in the night. Becoming iron with hearts forged in fire. Tales of courage and conviction, rising even higher, displaying strength in the fiercest fight, men becoming iron, shining in the night. The brave man faces the darkest night, the empowered man fights with all his might, the resilient man stands unwavering and strong, shining in the night. And the tales unfold and the battles new, convictions light sees them through, from abysses deep to the morning light, they becoming iron in the endless fight, becoming iron with hearts forged in fire, tales of courage and conviction, rising even higher, displaying strength in the fiercest fight, men becoming iron, shining in the night. In the tales of old and the battles new, convictions light sees them through, from abysses deep to the morning light, they become iron in the endless fight, they become iron in the endless fight. Tales of old and the battles new, convictions light sees them through.
Right. Just watch your microphone. I'm getting some noise, so keep your hands off your microphone. Yeah, we're getting some noise. All right. So that is becoming iron. You can see the burn.
Can I say something before I leave? Because I have to leave you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
You just got here.
I know.
You just
But I'm
got
going to drop this right here and then I'm going to head on out. Gents, y'all are doing a great job. And I cannot wait to see the movie Becoming Iron.
that's big. Put it out there. That's big.
Sick.
I'm ready for it. I can see that.
Right. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Donna.
All right, Lady Donna.
All righty.
All right. So we're building legacy, right? And we're talking about what? Active parenting. Men living in their role as active parent. So that's what we're talking about again. And again, it's all about becoming iron, tales of courage and conviction. Last week, we had a spirited, lively discussion on the topic. So, Juan and Augusta, what is active parenting? Let's just refresh ourselves on that. What is that thing we call active parenting?
Active parenting is, so I think I always like prefacing with this, speaking from the perspective of the divorced dad. Active parenting is more than sending a check. Active parenting really involves, because I know there's and it's difficult, because I think we even had this discussion, even with last week, like we live in a world now to where you even have to put the caveat of, when we talk about, parenting or fire, we mean like good households. Like that's kind of the state where we are, even speaking of fatherhood and just manhood in general. So I would say active parenting is more than just providing a check. Active parenting is fulfilling the need of your child, specifically where you need to meet them. I'm recording an episode of the Man Talk Monday podcast, and really in it, I'm emphasizing the fact that I have 5 kids, 4 girls, 1 boy, smacked in the middle. I cannot be the same Augusta that I am for Dalen, that I am for Mila. I can't show up as the Kingston dad for Anisis, and I cannot be the Anisis dad for Annalise. I have to represent something. I have to put on the suit for each one of them for what they need individually. And I think really being an active and effective parent is understanding I have to put on multiple hats for this kid, that I can't just be this way. That's not going to work. It doesn't play out. That's being an active parent, understanding the need of your child, meeting them there, and walking with them along that path.
Thank you for that, Augusta. You said one thing, and I'm curious with more than one, right?
Correct.
compete in different competing interests, right, with these kids, and they all want something different, and they're looking at each other. How do you manage conflict when they come along with the children? All these kids wanting something different, believing this one is getting more than the other, and so forth. How do you deal with that?
I think my mother taught me a very good lesson when I was young, and even though there were only two of us, I think my sister asked, we were about 9 or 10, and my sister asked, well, which one of us is your favorite? And my mother responded, I don't have a favorite. It's like, I love you equally. And she kept saying that, and she said it throughout our lives. And I think a lot of parents, Deion Sanders jokingly ranks his kids. He goes, this is kid 1 this week, kid 2. And I think your kids will always wonder, am I getting enough attention? Am I this? And that's different. But even like the favoritism, you're giving them all what they need. I make sure to give them what they need at that level. I have some of my, my teenager, Dad, if I don't talk to Dad every day, even if it's like twice a week or a text, I know I can't call her, but I could text, hey, love you, Dad. This was great. This is that. The youngest, Annalie, needs it. So it's even balancing that is understanding how much time do I have to put in this? Where am I lacking? But it's that self-awareness of even knowing, you know what, right now, I know I'm not giving this kid this. I know I'm not that. Where can I pull from to do it? But those conflicts, they're easier to manage when you're aware enough that you're working on being a dad. You're trying your best every darn day to get better.
All right, thank you for that. Juan, let's hear it from your perspective. Active parenting. What is active parenting?
It's I honestly agree with Augusta was saying. What comes to mind for me when I think of active parenting is being proactive. And I think about it in a sense where you're living life as an active parent with them in mind. So you're understanding that your behaviors, your decisions, your actions, all of those things, how you live your life, your example, affect them in some way, right? And so you're constantly thinking about the possibility of certain situations, good, bad, or indifferent, and how to prepare yourself in a way that you'll be able to guide them and prepare them for life. So I would say being proactive. You can't prepare for everything, but you can prepare for some things. And I think that's what active parenting is. Of course, being present. Augusta touched on that, but being proactive. Thinking about the conversations today, where they will put them tomorrow. I always tell my students, one decision today can change your tomorrow, and so all it takes is one. And so I think being a active parent, you have to have that mindset, being proactive and planning in advance. So
we all know that global warming is a factor in almost everything these days, right? We've seen all kind of changes in the weather pattern and all that good stuff. For our children, how much time and energy should we put into environmental stewardship? How important is it to teach them that at an early age? Some kids believe you can just litter and do whatever you want to do. How important is that?
Not this youngest one here in Atlanta. Not this young one. She is very much, when we go places, to even the store, somebody who's attentive to the fact of, Dad, there's all this trash on the floor. There, and her exact words every single time, and Tremaine will vouch for this, is they're littering. God's not gonna like that. They're messing up his planet. He gave them this, and it tickles me inside, but she genuinely is like, this isn't good. It's gonna mess this up. So the fact that her at 5 years old is cognizant, her siblings similar, where I have a son who visited them and we're walking, and as he's walking, he saw like someone's can on the ground, grabs the can, throws it in the recycle bin. Dad, I gotta wash my hands. So I'm like, just telling them, hey, clean up after yourself, do these things. It's extended outside of the house to where they realize, like, this is like, I have my house, but like the world, like I gotta walk around here, I gotta live here. And specifically instilling them young, because realistically 60, 70 years from now, I don't think I'm gonna be here, but more than likely they will be. They're blessed to live that long, and they want to They should be in a decent, clean air, breathable, drinkable water world.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know, what we leave behind for them is so important, right? What kind of world do we want,
Absolutely.
right? So one, you know, with all the different competing interests, we have work, we have friendship, relationships, we have all kinds of involvement, right? All types of interests. Let's talk a little bit about how do we manage all of that around family time, because that's important, right? Time with the family, how you use
Oh,
your time with the family.
absolutely.
So how do you
Absolutely. You know, it's I don't, I'm not even gonna use that word. So I'm gonna say this. I tell my, when I was a graduation coach for at Kennesaw State, I would tell my students that would come in, especially my nursing students, when we talk about this work-life balance, I said, I don't believe in it. I don't believe it exists. I do, however, believe that there's a flow that you can get in that works best for you. And then when you start working your flow and learning your flow, and you just get in it, and it just you have your flow. I don't know, because there's always going to be something that's off, or you're going to be one place but your mind is here, and all those different things. But I believe that there's a flow. So to answer your question, I work to, especially with parenting, she's priority. And so when it comes to the schedule, if there's a meeting that I can't get out of, we have that conversation. But if I can move it, if I have some flexibility, she's either with me, or if it's virtual, we're in the same room, we're in the same space, whatever it is. But I do these things with her in mind, because work is going to happen. Parents work, adults work, but being a kid whose parents, having young parents, had to work all the time, that has some lasting effect on you. So I'm still in a place of learning our flow, so when she's with me, it's just like, okay, hey, and I will say this, I think a lot of times parents don't think they think kids are too young and not don't have of age to have certain conversations. Me and Savannah, we talk about everything that's age appropriate. So, hey, daddy's schedule looks like this on this day. Hey, what are you thinking? Well, dad, is it something that, kid friendly? Can I come? Absolutely. When you get there, and we just talk through it. And I think allowing her to be a part of my life, gives her the understanding that my voice matters, my needs matter, and so we have those conversations, even while I'm still trying to figure out our flow at times. I bring her into the room, to the table, and we talk about it.
Augusta, let's hear from you on that one. Managing family time.
The same thing how I stated earlier, being active and realizing, it's more than, we get caught up in being, the protector and provider, and, money will resolve this. But it's, for me, I have to balance, work schedule, schedule with the woman who I love. All right, you need a date night. All right, child to school, giving her a break, and then taking into account, all right, I have these 4 that are thousands of miles away who I still have to invest and sow in and do time and FaceTimes and homework and visits. It's literally just having the want to, and then applying it. I could easily say, all right, I really don't feel like it. A lot of times we do, but just knowing that I have this responsibility, and not just as if it's an obligation, but I want to be a present father. I want to be an active father. And it's that want to, and that balance of time, and knowing, all right, I could do this, this, and this, but can't this. And, some of it is sacrifice. All right, what aren't I going to do that would come off as for me, but it's a dope exchange because I'd rather do this with my kids.
It is so easy to say, no, I'm tired. I have work. I have this. I have all these other obligations. And of course, you're tired. But you must have the will.
Right.
The will to step up and say, my work is not done. Right? Yeah. My work is not done. Again, we're talking about active parenting. We're on Becoming Iron, Tales of Courage and Conviction. And it's all about doing what we're here to do, whether we want to do it or not, recognizing that this is our role, that we play, and it's a mandatory thing. Once you're in it, you must do it, and you must live it right. Let's talk about adaptability, not for us, but for our young children, no matter what the age. How important is, we live in a world that is changing all the time. There's nothing static about what we deal with. As soon as you're awake, you're dealing with changes, right? It's constant. It's always happening. Now, how important for us as men, parents, fathers, to teach our children about adaptability?
I'll let the other teenage girl dad lead the way on that one. Go ahead.
You know, what's interesting is my daughter is approaching those changes, that preteens. She's approaching preteens, what they go through, especially young girls. And we were talking this summer, and I was like, just so happens that Daddy's never been a girl. He's never been a young girl, so I don't know, but I did my best to create an environment and a space where she felt safe enough and comfortable enough to have those conversations. And the reason I'm sharing this is because she's not she wasn't at the time handling these changes so well, or the thought of what could possibly change, and I don't even know when it could change, whether it is school, her body, voice, all of these different things, because she knows if it changes, I change, what will be the response from people? What will be the response from family? What will be the response from whomever? And how will that impact me in my life? And so one thing you just said, Doc, is I told her, I said, babe, the one thing that's constant, God, of course, at the top, but in life, change is the one thing that's constant. It's inevitable. I said, so, and we always have this conversation about the benefits that come with being able to manage ourselves when change is in front of us or we're experiencing change. So we had those conversations. What does it look like? Okay, now we have this in front of us. You're thinking this. So what makes you think this? And we have the conversation. I help her talk through and think through, whatever that change is. This in particular was her body changing, self-image, self-esteem, self-love, so we had a conversation about, tell me some affirmations that you say to yourself. What are some things about yourself that you absolutely love? What do you like? What are some things sometimes that are challenging to just say, hey, I like that you're still, struggling? And so we had the conversation, and at the end of it, there was some tears in the middle, but at the end I could see that she felt more comfortable because she heard herself say, I'm this, I can do this, I believe this, I love this, and it wasn't me telling her, no, you are this. It was me sitting there and affirming, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I believe that, so again, I really think it's that had to, to answer your question, it's that having that conversation and creating that space. So when so they can prepare, we talk about preparation, and be prepared for whatever change comes along.
Communication is everything, right? As an active parent.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's everything. It's everything. And there's something that I want to share with you, Jen. Well, there's a question and something I want you to think about while we're going this break. Think about traditional gender roles. All right? Just process that, and we're going to take a quick break and come back. We are always promoting around here. We're promoting what we do, of course. I'm going to play a video that is all about my new book, Daily Insights on Veil. All right? So when we come back, we're going to talk about gender roles, traditional gender roles. And all right, so let's do that.
Dr. Laxley leading the way, go the end. Dr. Laxley, all kind of tales to tell, unearthing secrets where the truth dwells. Daily insights with Dr. Stephenson's case. Navigating the depths of wisdom's maze. Knowledge unfolds in its embrace. We stay with Dr. Laxley leading the way. Through the annals of time, we walk and learn. Each fact a treasure at every turn. Dr. Stephenson's voice, calm and profound. When questions need answers, insights are found. Daily insights
right, welcome back. Welcome back. All right, so traditional roles, and that video is promoting my new book. It's up for pre-order. Our colloquium will be built around that book, and I'm telling you, you open the book, flip to a page, there'll be something in there for you. When I say daily insights, it's all in there. All right, so
It's the song for me.
traditional roles. Now, we have all these that we learn. A woman is supposed to do this, do that, have certain jobs. You know, thank God there are changes there, right? But not enough. Even though they're getting the same jobs, there's a difference in the pay, right? There's a difference in how they're respected.
Yeah.
Right. So tell me about traditional roles.
I think that's a tricky. I think it's a tricky question because tradition, you know, I think tradition is more time and culture based. You know, I mean, I'd almost have to push the question like back to you, Doc. Like at your age, coming from where you from, where you grew up.
Let me say this right off the bat. Whose tradition, whose system determine your life and the life of your children? Especially if it's a flawed system. So I'm going to give it back to you. Talk from your perspective and let's leave whatever else is happening out there.
Okay.
We call it traditional for a reason. And traditional is don't always serve us best, right?
Right. And I'll say as somebody, you know, the American traditional idea of the family, 2 kids, dog, white picket fence. I did not grow up in that. I was a third generation. I myself am a third generation stepfather. I adopted my oldest daughter. My stepfather raised me, and my birth dad was raised by his stepfather. So no tradition in any of that. But the traditions that I did take from my parents who raised me were, you know, be loving but stern. Be effective in your parent, being present, listening to your kids, knowing times when to balance, you know, hey, look, right now your kid absolutely needs to, or they don't need to. And one of the things, you know, that I think my father did that was very different from a lot of other dads was there were times where he flipped the provider thought. And, you know, for him, he always made money, had his own business. His pockets were never empty. They ain't empty today. But he would regularly value time with us over going to get a check. So he would regularly say, I could go to this job here in like the mid 90s, early 2000s, and I could go and make $2,000, $3,000. With inflation now, significant money. But him saying, I need to get this time because I get more money. I've taken those traditions to where it's like, okay, I won't do this. I won't work this overtime. I won't do this thing because I can do this with my kids. Understanding, you know, pouring that love, making sure that my kids see me actively loving their mother. Not, you know, just now with my fiance, but even with my kids and my interactions with my ex-wife, because I didn't grow up in a household where there was any disarray or beef. You know, my stepfather and my dad get along. My mother never said an ill word. My dad never said an ill word about them. So making sure those kinds of traditions in my newer American family, that my kids see love, even though I'm not with their mother, that they see respect, and, you know, that everyone is respected and loved and time is put in, and them knowing that I love you in spite of. Those are the traditions that I've carried.
Well, you know what prompted that question? We live in a country where we've never had a woman president. Talk about traditions, right? That's what prompted that question. Gender roles, right? Look what is happening right now. There's at least a 50% chance that we will have a woman president in this country. How about that in the tradition out the road, right? On the old custom. So that is what prompted that question. And to me, the essence of all of that is those traditions those barriers, they're all just barriers holding people back.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, they're just barriers. One, jump in on this one. Let's hear your thoughts on that.
You know, I was sitting here thinking that you know, for my you know, we talking about traditions, and I would say that traditionally my dad is definitely one of the a provider, right? Protector. But so was my mom. You know, again, I had young parents. You know, we got to Atlanta, my parents were in their early 20s. And so they both had to work, you know, and just make and I've seen that my entire life. When I tell you my parents, two of them hardest working people I know, you know, work ethic is just impeccable. And so seeing that traditionally, but then I grew up and was raised by a ton of women who were making things happen by any means necessary. And I did not ever hear them complain.
Mhm.
I seen these women, you know, work tirelessly. I've seen them keep food on the table. I've seen them go, you know, to church and pray. And if there was a time to see them cry out, that was the time, and the only time you saw tears, you know. And I've seen them fight, you know, physically, and I've seen them fight for what was right to make sure their kids had what they needed. So traditionally, it wasn't a lot of the gender roles, I guess the traditional gender roles that men did this, women did this, because we had women who were nurturing and cultivating and caretakers as well as providers and protectors. And so that's so for me, I've always been in a position where I'm like, hey, if the opportunity presents itself, I'm a support whoever is the better or the best candidate, you know, whoever is, you know, the more qualified, I'm a support, male or female. You know, so I'm not one of those males who just like, well, you know, she needs to sit down and know her role and not speak unless she's spoken to, and go cook and raise these kids. Because that's not what I saw growing up. You know, she was bringing home the bake. She was bringing home the bacon and cooking it, and you know, and so.
She's well. Not only are women bringing it home, as you said, they're also cooking it. You know.
Yeah.
So
And I'll say this because what my mom did, and I have the utmost respect for that woman, man. She taught me everything she knew. And as a young boy, you know, of course, we get splinters. She got that needle. She you know, sterilized it. All of those things, you know, when it came to balancing her checkbook, when we were on the way to school, I'd be in the car. She's like, hey, get my ledger right on there because lunch is going to be this much. Fill out the check and I'll sign it. So all of those things she was preparing me for, and she taught me how to sew. And what's funny is there have been many times when my button has fallen off a shirt. There was one time I had some years ago, had a graduation, and I had to speak, you know, had these things going on, and not thinking, I was ironing and burned a hole in my gown. And I didn't have enough time to get a new one. I went and found the same fabric in my shower curtain. I cut it out and I sewed that patch on my gown, you know, because I had to wear it the next night. So, and I said, all I could say is like, thank you, mama. I used to look at her like, I'm not going to do that. I'm never going to. And that night, it came in handy knowing how to sew and put that patch and stitch and all that. So she showed me these things. So it was for me. I didn't have a man supposed to do this and a woman supposed to do this. It was, well, you're going to have to learn how to do everything that's necessary to get to where you're trying to be, especially to take care of your family.
You know, Cross Stitch Mafia. I see you, Cross Stitch Mafia, man. Same gang.
I'm sitting here laughing as you're talking about sewing because I went to an event, was it last weekend? And my pants was a little bit long. So I asked my daughter, I said, do you have needle and thread? And guess what I did?
So
she said, Dad, I didn't know you know the sew. But, you know, I came out of a family ecosystem where women, they were the performers. They're the ones that got things done. My role model, number one role model in life is my mother. And there's nothing she couldn't do. She made it happen. So I didn't have to go look elsewhere.
Yeah.
And I learned what I needed to learn to make, and that is what helped shape me into who I am today. So, you know, those, and if you want to stay with the word traditional, and I don't really know that I embrace that word
Mm.
in terms of behaviors and those type of things. Because traditional, I don't believe serve us very well. Not in this society and the country we live in. So I am one to fight off those traditions. I'm more about being curious, understanding what elements, what aspect of traditions I should carry, and most of it get rid of.
Yes.
It's not in our best interest, right? No, I want to stay with the topic, but just change it up a little bit. How do societal expectations, right, define, your beliefs about masculinity? How does that affect your parenting?
Mm. I think masculinity has, even how you said breaking from tradition. I think masculinity comes in a lot of forms. To make the long short, I come from a family of seniors, older people. I have a first cousin who just turned 59 years old a couple of days ago. I have a number of first cousins who are 55 plus. Very older family, living great uncles and great aunts who were in their late 80s. So I've seen the transition from them where they carried some traditions of stay-at-home wife, work, husband goes out and works, to now. So even their change in masculinity from seeing what it is. And I have relatives who are, the old school, go to work, big, strong man. And I have relatives who are the polar opposite end of the spectrum of that. In it, they're not less of a man. They still maintain that masculinity. They still do the things they need to do. They still protect their children, make sure their family is straight. They're active listeners, active parents. They serve their communities. So they do the things. And I think there's not one way to look at masculinity. And I think the idea that it's Popeye the Sailor Man, or John Henry the Steel, like everyone isn't, just because you're not the most jacked, juice muscled up guy, that doesn't necessarily like define masculinity. You having all the money in the world and the car you drive or the neighborhood you live in, that doesn't mean masculinity. Yeah. It's, what is, as my father would say, it's your character. When nobody is looking, what kind of man are you? It's a broke dude somewhere off of 85 who is making sure, even in his small village of people, that they are taken care of and safe. That is a manlier man than some dudes who are living with 9 cars in the driveway at the mansion. That's masculinity.
Mm. Juan, I know you have something to say about that.
Man, look, I again, so I told you who I was raised by. So, and seeing these women and hearing their stories and their woes about men and stuff like that. So I was the first grandson. So for a long time, I was the only boy. So you can imagine most of my life is reared by women who are saying, this is what a man is. And you need to make sure that when you get married, you do this. Your woman should feel like this, you should carry yourself like this. You should. So there's a lot of shoulds, and of course I made many mistakes in my relationships, but whatever decision I made in life, schools and stuff like that, I always, for some reason, did it with them in mind. Like, oh, my auntie said, and what my grandma said, and what my mama, so I'm always thinking in that way. So it came with, having to learn the man that I wanted to be based on us, on the men that I did see, and growing up, my uncles, grandparents, all of, they were in the service, they were Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, all of that. So it was, and they were no nonsense type of men. I said it, I mean it, go do it. Wasn't no crying, wasn't no any of that, so we sucked it up, but being a parent, I love the flexibility and the autonomy to show her who the man that I decided to be. A man who loves, I would consider myself a Renaissance man. I love it all, arts, just every sports, all of those things, fashion, gardening, all of that, construction, whatever it is, and so I get to have this conversation with my child, my daughter, and she gets to see this man who knows some of everything about everything, and what he doesn't know, he has no problem sitting down and reading because he's just inquisitive and curious, and it speaks to her curiosity, so it's not like, well, I can't ask my dad this because he's a man, so he would know. No, what is it? Fashion? design, interior design. What? I don't think that goes together. I don't think it's so. We have you love that musical. Did you listen to the song? All of that. Sometimes we sit in the car and it's like, Dad, have you ever heard of this artist? No, I'm gonna play this song for you. And I'm sitting there like, oh, the inflections. You see her voice in that, and we have these conversations. I love it. So she's not trapped in this box where I'm gonna have to wait for me to get back around my mom, or maybe when I ask my nana when she gets home, it's no, let's go. She wanted to learn how to sew this summer. Guess what? Guess who knew how to look at a pattern and cut it out? Until Nana gets here and sits down with your sewing machine, Daddy gonna show you the manual way. Come on, let's look at this pattern. Let's trace it. And I made sure she had the tools she needed. She did it herself, and she could ask, Dad, what does this look like? And I could give my honest opinion. So that to me, much like what Augusta said, is I'm gonna be all things so I can guide and win my daughter and be whatever she needs me to be. That to me is a man. That to me is a provider and a masculinity.
And I tell you why it's so important, right? Because if you're not providing in that direction, they're going to learn it somewhere.
Somebody else or something else will.
Yeah.
Someone who don't have their interest at heart. So why is it important to be an active parent, an active father? You want to be the one providing guidance. We've been handed a lot of information. A lot of it, bad information. How important it is to ask questions, to allow your children to ask you questions. Should there be any questions off limits? How do you manage that?
I told, and I tell her all the time, with her getting older, and I could tell that she's evolving. I believe in just, giving attention and recognition to, a person's evolution. And I'm seeing the things that she's given to, whether it's the music, the shows, and the things she's saying. And so I kept telling her, I was like, and I just told her straight up, I said, my desire has always been that when I had children, that they would feel comfortable with talking to me about any and everything. This is a judgment-free zone, a safe space, whatever it is. And if you feel comfortable, I'm never going to force you to have the conversation. But if you feel comfortable, and sometimes you won't at first, but you got to try it. You got to try it. And so we did that. And I think it's so important to create this space where they feel safe enough to ask whatever the question is. And of course, I'm a ordained and licensed minister and pastor, but I want my children and my child to know that nothing is off limits, and I mean absolutely nothing. Because I believe, like you said, Dr. Stevens, if they don't get it from me, if they don't feel comfortable around me, guess what? There's some knucklehead at school or somewhere that's like, and what's interesting is that, as men, and I think it's just as people in general, we can kind of read where people are kind of just floating and trying to figure out, what they don't know, where they're lost at, and people can prey on that. Right. So why not create the space where she says, you know what, I'm gonna ask my dad, about sex, about this, about that, whatever it is, or just talking about my insecurities or what I'm concerned about. Why not? I would rather she talk, have a safe space with me and her family and her parents than, I'm gonna ask my friends. I'm gonna ask this guy. He's interested. What does he think of me? So
man.
It's not comfortable. I'm gonna be honest with you, but I'm gonna put it out there. She, you have girls, Augusta, Doc, you have girls. That time of the month is closely approaching my daughter. And it was something she was very concerned about. And this summer, I was like, okay, Lord, and so I said, you know what, we cut everything off, no devices, no TV. I turned on some of the Zen music, burned the candle, and I was like, I said, hey, let's talk. And I just kind of worked my way in there, but it was uncomfortable at first, but we had a good conversation. Our first. So I'm hoping that they kind of open the door for future,
Right. So I have a story to share, right? I when I visited Kenya was it last September, man, time is moving so fast. We had an event at a school. And one of the things that we did, we handed out sanitary pads, right, to the girl. So I'm standing with some of my brothers from Kenya, and I noticed that then when they started to hand out these pads, they started to pull back. And somebody pushed me in the line, and I started to hand out these pads. And I said, "Why are all these guys standing back? They will never touch the pad."
Culture.
Now here I am just pushing pads. Like, this is why I'm here, and I'm serving these young ladies pads. And I thought that's a wonderful thing to do. You know, Gaio is online. Chances are, if he was there, he'd have been like this, stiff. You know, he's watching the show and he's hearing us, but that is not what they do in Kenya. Males are not touching that thing. No, they have daughters, right? Can you imagine the conversation?
That ain't no conversation. I just like the fact that Doc said he was pushing pads. If you're somebody
right, the pad
watching
pushing
this, if you're watching this and you were wondering what pushing P was, that's what pushing P is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Pushing P.
In fact, we go to Jamaica and we give it to the young ladies at the schools. We all join hands and come together and push pads because that is what we do. And see, here is Gaia saying super uncomfortable, and that he totally agree. When I call him out and say he would not touch it, he would be stiff. Yeah. That's just the culture, right? So that's just what he knows. So hopefully, after listening to this show, he won't have an issue with it, right, Gaia? You won't mind we're in a situation and you're doing a community-based initiative, missionary initiative, and it's your turn to hand out the pads. Type in the chat that you will.
We looking for you to be pushing P, Gaio, on the next trip. We looking for you to be pushing P.
To be a pad pusher. Come on.
Be a pad pusher. Yeah,
you want to hear you pushing P?
I think we're going to take a quick break. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back after that quick break. All right?
All right.
We're going to play another video, and then we're going to jump it.
I'm a boy kid. I'm a boy kid. I'm a boy kid. I'm a boy kid. I wake up in the morning and I praise the Lord. I thank Him for His protection, and I walk in His steps, declaring that today's provision is set up for me. I love God and I love my friends. I'm a bold kid. I'm a bold kid. I'm a bold kid. I put on my armor and I read His word, blessing come out of my mouth, cause I know to whom I belong. I am bold for Christ, Holy Spirit dwelling within me, carrying His presence wherever He sends me. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid. Loving others as He told me to pray for healing, miracles to see, knowing my identity in Christ, He is in me. I am a bold kid, He loves me, standing firm on His word, proclaiming everything I heard, not afraid because He is with me. Be bold. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid. Put on my armor and I read His word, blessing come out of my mouth, because I know to whom I belong. I am bold for Christ, Holy Spirit dwelling within me, carrying His presence wherever He sends me. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid.
Right? I'm a bold kid. Old kids, right? And that's big stuff coming soon to be released. More stuff.
Message.
This platform, right?
It's the message. It's the message. Like Juan said, it's the message.
And talking about the message, look at this message right here.
A new perspective.
Here we go. Pushing ahead to acceptance and more awareness. Here we go. My man Gaio pushing P Wakoli. I love it.
Man, you get be careful, you don't get him in trouble over there.
I love it, Gaio.
He's a bold kid. He's a bold kid. He's stepping up bold.
I love it.
All right, so we're that, we're bold, right? Here again, we're talking about becoming iron, tales of courage and conviction, and we're talking about being active parent, active fathers, right? And what else we talking about? We're talking about life, building legacy. Yeah. That's what it's all about. Yes. Being a change maker, a difference maker, all that good stuff we're supposed to do as a active parent. Active parents. Yes. Now, the time is running. We're going over an hour. So what I would like to do before we get into our final argument, I just want to share something, right? I want to say, let's challenge ourselves to nurture and celebrate friendships. Take a moment to reflect on the value of the connections you share with those closest to you. Now, I want you to ask yourself, who are the friends in your life that you're most grateful for? How can you show appreciation and support to your friends? How does investing in your friendships enrich your life? It is important to remember that true friendship is a precious gift that requires care and attention. Often we take it for granted that you're my friend and everything is okay. We don't have to nurture it. We don't have to do anything about it. But fostering these connections, we create a network of love and support that enhances our journey through life. Now, let us all take a moment today to celebrate the friends who walk beside us. I think we can now move it to final arguments.
Final arguments. Yeah, if you're a father, short and sweet. Again, perspective of a divorced dad. For anybody who's listening to this live or back on the replay, fellas, you have to be more than a wallet. If you limit yourself to only being a wallet for your children, that is all they will ever view you as. Learn to put on the multitude of hats that you need to be an effective, present, active, loving, and successful father. And society will thank you for it.
Absolutely. I'll say this real quickly. Something that my counselor gave me, and I hold true to it. I hold it near my heart, is that there will be many challenges, things that come in, that try to just kind of cripple you as a man, as a father. But you got to rise up and learn how to parent through it all. And that's definitely some advice I received, and there will be challenges. There will be ups and downs and all of that. But I think the biggest thing that I took from that, and I've been holding on to it, I want to share, is just learn how to parent through it. Whatever it is, you still have to parent through it. That was her push. You still got to parent through it, Juan. You got to figure out how to parent through it. And I shared that. You got to figure out how to parent through it. So, don't give up. Be present and just figure out how to parent through it.
It's a good word.
Awful. My final argument is the same as last week. And because I believe it's so important that I want to stress it again. I want to take away the excuse that too many men are walking around with. That because they didn't have a male figure or a father in their life, it's okay for them to be absent as well. And I'm here to tell you that that is not the way to go. You're neglecting your dialect if you're not present. So whatever it is that happened in your life, you no longer have that as an excuse or a reason to be anything but an active father. So wake up, get with it, and be the man that you're meant to be, that you're here to be. Be the father that when you made that decision to have a child, to be a whatever you want to call it, because some people don't really understand what they really got involved with. Whenever you made a decision, you also made a commitment. And you must live by that commitment. You must stand tall, be that man who's going to take care of his child, of his children. And that is your role. And that's what I want to leave this platform tonight.
That's a good word, Doc. Good word.
So here's a question. We're not parents and gave to be free to learn better parenting dynamics. Seek knowledge wherein it is plenty.
Yes. I
And
like
he
that,
said,
Kyle.
on parents, but learn through it. Let's be ready to learn better parent. You know, you learn from others. You learn good and bad things. So hopefully you have enough awareness to know what is good and what is bad.
Awareness, yeah,
to take away experiences and leave experiences behind that won't serve you well. But you also, as a man, and as you're growing, as you're developing, and if you are paying attention to your own behavior, you will know when you're off.
Yeah.
You will know. Most of us learn on the job, right?
Yeah.
Most of us learn on the job how to be. But you must be reflective. You'll say something or you'll make a decision. Don't just leave it there. Because I guarantee you there's going to come another time when you're going to be faced with the same situation and having to make decisions again. And if you're learning from what you did and see the impact of your decision, then you will know, okay, maybe I need to do it a little bit different next time. Maybe I need to say it a little bit different next time. So I think that you can learn through your own experience and you become better and better. And we talk about change. We talk about being adaptable. Not only should your child or your children be adaptable, you must also be adaptable as a parent.
Absolutely.
Big time adaptable as a parent. So there's so much to be said about this topic, and we're going to revisit it again next week because I think it's the most important thing that we do here. You know, we have children, and even when you don't have children, you have your nieces, your nephews, and children in your community.
Yeah, yeah.
And how do you build a strong community if you're not preparing for children?
Yeah,
if you're not preparing them. So, gentlemen, I think that's where we are for tonight. Juan, you're going to take us out, and I'm going to play that Becoming Iron, Hard song as our outro tonight. So, Juan, you want to take us out, and I will jump in there right after you do that?
Yes. So to our listeners, you know, we appreciate you tuning in to this every week, you know, and just being part of the conversations. For those who will watch the playback, please like, share, comment. We actually read your comments, we read your questions, you know, and it helps to guide the discussion. So you are part of this community. So we appreciate you. Until next week, same time, same day, Thursday. We'll see you next week. And just whatever's out there, there's knowledge, there's wisdom. Get it, grow, and go. We appreciate you. See you next week.
And I love it. Grow and go. And here we go.
Trail is written of hearts that strive through fire and flame. They find their way, becoming iron where courage holds sway.